can go to my page on
Okay.
Facebook. That's probably the best one. Go to my page on the Facebook, and then you can just share from there. And I'll tag you in the post right now while we're waiting. So you'll see comments. You'll see comments on the right-hand side. You should.
Okay. Yeah, I can
Oh yeah,
see.
there you go. There you go. There's Debbie.
Oh,
All right, so let me just tag you on here just to make sure you got it.
cool.
Let's. Oh damn it. Okay, well that's just the way it goes. I have a subtitle in there that came out, but that's okay. I'll just take it off of here. God darn it. I'm out of my element, so I'm a little bit. There's Sally
I
Claridge.
found it. I found us. I think I found us. Yes, I found us. Don't worry.
You sure? I got you. I mean, I just tagged you on it anyway.
Cool.
So your name is emboldened. All right.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay. All right. Let me get out. Okay. Oh, I'm just doing all this in front of everybody. How's it going, everybody? We're a little bit out of our element. We're in a beautiful, sparkling city by the sea where I grew up, staying at a very dear friend's house, Chanda Sparkles. This is the Sparkles studio, and we're going to be doing some shows out of here for an indefinite period of time, probably a couple of weeks. And yeah, so we're going to get back in the groove here. And I couldn't think of any better way. Honestly, I'm not just saying that. When I saw Sally's name on the schedule, I was like far out, because she's so cool. Like, she is. She's just really cool. She's just down to earth, but she's also. And so we're talking, and she's telling me that she was gone for 6 months. And then right when she popped her head out of the turtle shell, as we all put our bodies, our arms and legs inside the turtle shell in our head, when all the stuff starts flying. She said, you said as soon as you kind of, took a peek, Morgan reached out to you. And I said, well, that's how it happens. But the reason I'm bringing it up and the reason I said, let's turn it on is because you're like the, I want to say like maybe the 5th or 6th person that I've talked to that took off 6 months. Yeah. That and we're talking about Marianne Savino. Now these aren't the same 6 month periods. Martin McNichol, I remember last year, but there's been quite a few people, probably more than 6, that I've talked to that have done that. So, well, welcome back. I love
Thank
your hair, Kelly Bird. She's echoing my sentiment. She says Sally Claridge is the coolest of the cool, and I agree. So, okay, now, yeah, I just say welcome back, and I'm trying to get back in the groove. I'm a little bit lit at the moment, not by any external source. It's just my internal stuff.
We're good. We're good.
Yeah. So, what were you doing for 6 months? You and your partner?
Well, it was really, I would say the last 6 months. Yeah, I really just, I got to a point where I'd had enough and everything was just too much, basically.
Yeah.
And so that was sort of like the end of July. And I was actually really struggling. But doing the usual thing of, no, I'm fine, and doing that usual facade, absolute rubbish that we do to ourselves.
Isn't it? Isn't it?
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, isn't it though? I mean, it isn't it? Like, I love the way you said that. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm good. And I get a kick out of it. Of course, doing the show, I was thinking about this recently because I've watched, people are coming into their own power. So as a result of their self-empowerment, some of the old templates, aren't working anymore. One of those templates to me is, somebody standing in front of you. And I'm not saying this is bad because I've done it. Everybody's done it. I'm just trying to make a point. It's not about right or wrong. What I'm trying to say is that it's not really the yogi guru thing, but the externalization or the search for an external fix through a personality that we consciously or not put on a pedestal kind of thing is going away. I'm making the call. Now, as I was thinking about this, and I think it was actually the consciousness of Soulology, which has been speaking to us for going on 3 years now. I'm pretty sure that's what was speaking to me, was saying this is what you're involved with. And what it is, it's bringing people on, having a conversation, and everybody's on the same level. Mm-hmm. Meaning there is no hierarchical frequencies. Yeah. So when you say what you're saying, it's so important, even though we laugh about it, but what you're saying is so important to be honest and go, I'm okay, but I'm really not. I was bullshitting myself. And that's what I'm getting at. This is this real talk, real raw, no BS, no mask is to me the gold. And so I know that was a long.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. And I was just thinking, people are so scared to actually be seen for the truth. Mm-hmm. And to actually share their truth, because we're so conditioned into, especially in the spiritual world. And, during my 6 months of basically diving into a big black hole and questioning everything, I was just thinking, I've got a real problem with the word spiritual because of the illusions, the expectations, like you say, the hierarchy, and the images that are put out. And I really had to sort of let go of so much. And, you do a lot of soul searching and looking at yourself, and then you're trying to just survive and keep up with everyday life. And then you've got the crazy outside world out there. And it was almost as like there was just too much. It was too much. There was too much spiritual. There was too much trying and forcing. And then the other reality, the 3D reality, was just holy freaking moly. That's just, I don't want to hear about that either. And then I just thought, I've had enough. This is why I need to step back. It was just overload. And I thought, I don't want to show up, going sort of oh, everything's wonderful. We've got it all. Because I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it anymore. And I was getting... It was too much. So and
here's the thing, okay, that I'm hearing from you, which is even taking further what I was saying. It's okay to have gone around. I done it. You did it. Yeah. But it's okay to have gone around in our past, right up to 10 seconds ago, and said, and say I'm okay, or say. Or allude that I know about this subject or that or this or that. In other words, it's okay to get to a point and say, I'm not okay and I don't know. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's okay. It's like what you were saying is we're scared to have frailties and to have, imperfections. Yeah. And so I really feel like what you are exuding and what we're talking about here is actually the perfecting of our nature. In other words, and I don't mean just oh, we're perfect. We were made in the image, and you blink the eye and that's just the way it is. I'm talking about the whole overall mission and purpose of what we're doing here, which is the expansion of life to a higher truth, a higher love, and a higher perfection. And all I'm trying to say is it's done. The human is the hero. It's done at the human level, being able to speak the way you speak.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's really, I've just seen Joseph Delaney's comment. I know.
They're having a bunch of F's flying over there. And somebody mentioned roses. Amanda Summer said spiritual does not mean roses. And that's just so funny because, Morgan was covered in rose petals last night, but that's another story. I should got to behave myself. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes, I think what's been really interesting is that I posted up on my page, and then I put it into Soulology as well. I came back and I had this real urge to share the truth, you know, of like, this is what it's really been like on a human level, but as an awakened, conscious observer of myself. And I let it all out in the post, and there was lots of effing and blinding and the number of women, or especially women, because I mentioned the menopause as well, and that is another whole new layer to complete transformation and moving into a different state of being. But so many people actually reached out to me and said, oh my God, thank you for just being real, for being open, for saying what other people, you know, don't want to say or don't want to be seen or heard to say. And the thing is, when one person says it, it opens up the door for everybody else to shift, to accept themselves, to maybe move deeper into their hearts, or into self-love, or into a place where they can at least say, it's okay. Yeah. You know, because it is.
It is. When everybody shows their ass sooner or later. It's the truth. Everybody shows their ass sooner or later. We all do. We all do it. And I really, what you're saying is pure gold. It's okay. You know, I've always said another way to say I am soul is to say I'm not afraid to show my ass. So in other words, to get past the point of embarrassment, and, you know, what people think and all that. You can say it so many different ways, but to, you know, to have all of these myriad frequencies that we create in this, let's just say in the light worker community and so on, this complexity, to have all of that stuff out there, you know, the stuff that comes in, the human experience, for it all to come back down to what? You're supposed to be Sally and I'm just supposed to be Todd. That's it. That's the whole thing. Like, what the F, you know?
And all this, I really feel that the truer and, you know, the truer and more real we are, you know, the higher and more connected we become in a way, because we're not avoiding the human side of it. And we're here to experience the human experience. We're here to experience fear, doubt, confusion, transformation, but we're also here to move through it with an awareness of what we're experiencing and how we can expand and how we can grow and how we can ascend within. I don't see ascension as somewhere going up onto fluffy clouds. It's like coming home to our hearts, you know, it's coming home to our truth and actually just opening our hearts even further and letting those layers go. Those, oh my God, the layers of conditioning, my freaking God, you know, you think,
I get it.
You think you've done some work and then the freaking onion opens up even further.
You know, exactly. You know what's crazy? This is crazy. And I'm going to just use an example. It's not about sacred sexuality. I just want to make that point. Okay. It's about the energetics that are uniform in our experience, what you're hitting on right now, that what it creates, and what it creates is an effect, cause effect, right? So I'll use this aspect of it. So in terms of sacred sexuality, you know, as a man, I had to deal with all of these things that were programmed into me. I had to give them up over and over again. It was gut-wrenching. It was painful. It was excruciating. It was mind-blowing. Took me to certain points where you might even consider, and not that I would ever do it, but, you know, suicidal frequencies. Like, get me the F out of here. Like, I don't get this, you know. What I'm trying to say is what occurred, and what I believe occurs in all aspects where we remove the conditions and we surrender in that blind faith, because that's what it is. Yeah. The universe gives us like 90%. But what's happening is there's this whole multiverse of potential and experience that's opened up as a result of the faith of an individual stepping into that unknown, giving up all these programs where you know what to do, or whatever you think you do. And so I think this is where we're getting. So when a person takes 6 months off, this has got to be what you were doing. You had to have been. I'm not being presumptuous, but why would you do that? You're going into yourself, right? And you're you're removing the BS, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just had to step away from like the noise. It just felt I was surrounded by just noise and disruption, and it was just too much. And then add into the mix, I lost my mother in August as well. So then you've got the whole world thing going on, my own transformation, my own shifting. You've got the menopause, the loss of my mother, and everything was just like, holy fuck, I can't do this. And it's just a case of just step back. And it was in that time, I still showed up in my group. It's just I really sort of stepped back from social media and sort of being there. But, you know, it was a case of I just wanted peace and quiet. I was desperate for peace and quiet and the space to hear and feel me, because I felt I'd lost me, you know, amongst the noise and everything that was going on. I just felt, you know, who the F am I at the moment, and what the frick am I supposed to be doing? Because I thought I knew what I was supposed to be doing, but that sure as hell wasn't working out. But until you step back, you can't really hear that or feel it.
That's right. And I think another thing too that happens, you just actually hit on it. Yes, and yes, condolences on the loss of your mother, the transition. But so what ends up happening, like you have these go-tos, like let's go back a year. I'm Todd, I'm Sally, this is what I do, this is who I am, even though I'm not my labels and all that, but I go to work every day with my lunch pail and I run my group and I do my show, whatever our thing is, right? Yeah. And then we're expanding, we're continuing to expand. And then you get to this point, you go, what's the point? This is nothing. You hit that point of I am nothing. And then all of a sudden, you know, everything just becomes like almost like meaningless. And I've had these moments, Morgan's had these moments, and we're like going, you know, what's going on here? It's like a lull, you know? Yeah. And so you come back, oftentimes we think, okay, I've expanded. Now I'm at a higher vantage point, and I look down and I can see blind spots that I couldn't see before the elevation. So you have new shadows of discovery and new opportunities, but it's different because this is your purpose-driven life, right? And then you get to this point, you're like, it's gone. And like, where's the new info? Where's the new code? Where's the new intel? And I've heard a lot of people say that. My guides have left the building. They're with Elvis. He's gone. You know, where are they?
Yeah. You know, and I've even through my work as a channel, I've never had that direct conventional connection with the guide, or that says you need to do this or turn left or do this or that. I've never had that. I've literally just always gone on feeling and intuition. And I just felt so disconnected from that. And it was like, well, I don't even know what I'm feeling anymore. So how on earth am I supposed to know what I'm meant to do? So I just thought, right, I'm not going to do anything, because that creates the space. And so not doing anything. And, you know, I lay around, I watch Netflix, and, you know, we live off grid up here in the Alpujarras in Spain. So we're up in the mountains, we're off grid, we don't have neighbors, we're quite isolated. So, and it's beautiful.
That sounds dreamy to me.
Magical. And nature and Mother Earth has been my saving grace. Because just being able to go out on the land and walk, or go and look at the views, and, you know, we've got wild winds here quite a lot of the time. So just go up on the roof and just get blown, you know, just clear. So it's really interesting that you actually have to have that space for the new to come through. It's not like a continual, right, I'll just keep jogging along and the treadmill will just take me on to the next step. Sometimes you do have to stop, because our minds are so attached to a certain outcome, perhaps, or an image or a dream or a vision that you had like 5 years ago. But we're so beyond that now. You know, we have to daily I think
It's
daily
crazy.
of everything.
It's really crazy because you can't bank on, like, okay, like a big, so one of the big examples would be whatever we're pulling in, like whatever channel we pull in, or whatever those streams are, right? That provide us information, intuitively through our clairs. I'll go do this, go do that, or be this or be that, or whatever. And those things aren't enough to keep us fulfilled, and they're not enough to give us a full life experience. And we're being pushed by our souls to have a full life experience, to push the envelope. So what I'm getting, and that's what I was saying earlier, because it comes down to honoring, loving, respecting, nurturing our human aspect. The human has an equal seat at the round table of spirituality. Call it your oversoul, call it your monad, call it all the aspects of you. But he or she now sits and is an equal to that higher self, to that galactic self, and so on and so on and so on. And that's what's happening. And because it's not fantastical, we're not pulling down dragons and this and that and that, because it's so rooted. And you said it, it's the earth. Like that's why, that's why you can go out into a natural setting, and you don't even have to say anything.
No,
right? It just kind of does it for you, right?
Yeah. And I am, I don't know, I am a bit of a loner. A lot of, some people think that I can be quite out there and really social, but actually I love just being in nature. I love peace, I love quiet. And I think a lot of us are realizing that the connections that we're craving for are the really genuine connections with Mother Earth, with nature, with the galactic realms, but also, with ourselves. And we can't necessarily really connect with ourselves while we've got all this noise going on around us and all the expectations. And just being human is enough.
That's right.
Because being human is our divine truth. It's sacred. It's who we are. We're stardust. We're everything, And sorry, go ahead.
No. We have a little bit of a lag. I wasn't trying to interrupt you.
Okay.
No. But I totally get what you're saying, and this is the thing. We have. That's why I was laughing about it, because we're not even have come back. This is the one part of us that we've pushed over here. Be it represented by our traumas, or whatever, our successes, our failures, our family, our labels, whatever. And we've all done it. We've all said, "Get me the hell out of here. I'm ready to go." Or we've, that insecurity, or whatever you want to call it, that lack of identification with it, has pushed us to be, say things and be almost like arrogant, like, "Oh, I channel Jesus," or "I do this," or "I'm a dragon rider," or whatever the case is. But it's like we're not coming back. We don't even have a choice. It's like the universal energy is saying, "Hey, you know what kind of gift it is to be a human? You know what kind of gift it is to be in this dense atmosphere and to realize that you're a transformer."
Yeah.
And that has no limitations. Yeah, you can do it in the ethers, and we do it all the time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But to do it in the physical, hey, look, teleportation's here, bilocation's here, telekinesis is here. These things are all here. Instant manifestation's here. And one by one, people are going to start doing it. Yeah. And it's not even like the 100 monkey effect. It's like the 10 monkey effect, because this is powerful, powerful, powerful alchemic abilities that people are already doing it. And I know it sounds crazy, but what you described about where you guys live and your lifestyle, that's doing it. That's actually working with that energy, and it does reciprocate.
Yeah, it does. I mean, it's living off grid. It is incredible. it's freaking hard work as well. It's not the airy fairy dream of sitting around sipping gin and tonics and just not getting your electricity bill every month. It's actually quite hard work, but it really is fulfilling. It's really fulfilling because we've got olive trees here. So we did an olive harvest. We've got our own olive oil.
You make your own olive oil?
Yes, yeah, we have olive trees, and I've got a blog called Namaste This, and it's the real life story with a really quite dark sense of humor about
where's the blog at? Is it on Facebook or on your website?
I've got a Facebook page called Namaste This blog, and the actual website is namastethis.com, and it's the website's well out of date, but I post quite a bit on Facebook and Instagram. Pictures, but also the real the reality behind the scenes of like the dream of what a lot of people think off-grid life.
So you don't have electricity?
We do, because we've got solar power. So we've got solar panels. Okay.
So you've got solar power. You have a water well, or how do you get the water?
We get our water. It comes through the acequias, which are the natural water irrigation channels that come down from the Sierra Nevada mountains. And on Thursday night in the winter at 10 o'clock at night, we've got an hour to divert the water onto the channels onto our land, and also to fill up our water deposit.
Are you kidding me? So you have, so wow. Okay, so then how about, this is the one that gets me. I'm not going to be upfront about it. Like even with camping and stuff, my friends are like, they're like all over the place. And I'm like, well, I'm watching you people around the campfire and eating, and all I can think of is, where do they go to the restroom? And they're like telling me how they build latrines, and I'm like, F that, man. As long as I had, that's the only thing I would be like, but so, well, I mean, but you have plumbing, you have a shower.
We've got a modern bathroom, but you'll either laugh or you'll cringe, because when we moved into the property, there was no water connected. We had to set up the whole plumbing sort of system for water to come into the house. And so for a couple of months, we lived without any running water. So we were like feral for 2 months.
I would fit right in.
Yeah, I went off to the left, I had my corner of the land, and my husband had his corner of the land, and off we would go. So we've done it. We really have done it, and I have never been so grateful for the gift of water in my life, ever. Running water in your home, what a gift. Yeah. Every day that we have a shower or can do the washing up or whatever. Absolutely.
What, man, that's a very true statement. When I first woke up, I was homeless, and obviously, that would speak for itself. But one of the places that I went to stay was in a friend's apartment. So I actually had a couch or whatever, a floor or whatever I was sleeping on for, this went on for a few weeks, but there was no running water. Mm-hmm. Right. There was no shower. There was a sink. Okay. Yeah. There was a sink, and then there was a toilet. But I got to tell you, like, I remember even on the streets, like going into like service station restrooms and just cleaning yourself, taking a bath basically in the sink. Yeah. And you really do start to really, appreciate it. I was very, very shocked at how much it affected me, being not being clean, in those circumstances. Yeah. So water is huge.
Water is a gift. And, especially here, southern Spain, the winters are so dry. We don't get water down our side of the mountain in the summer, so we have to store enough to get us through the summer months. And the first year we did it, we were so stingy with the water. Wow. But we're used to it now, and it's beautiful. We absolutely love it here. We're very blessed, and of course, we've got a great 4G signal, so all is
oh, perfect. 111. Right when she said that, 111 people in the house.
Yes.
Can't make this shift up.
No, you can't. You really can't.
So how? I mean, I know you're in a partnership, and I know that's a huge part of your life. That's to go through what we're all going through. I mean, it's a big deal anyway for an individual. Even if you're in a partnership, it doesn't matter. But to be able to do that, and to do that in those circumstances, your connection is there a lot of telepathy with the two of you as time's gone on with these energies?
Say telepathy as such, but definitely we get each other and we know each other. We're very different in many ways. Scott, I've known him since I was a teenager. He's very grounded. He's like my rock. He's the practical one, where I sort of tend to go da, and I'm off on a tangent and following my heart and have got up to no good. But he's rock solid, and I think the partnership of me being an air sign and him being more earthy. I can't actually think what his sign is at the moment, but he's a Leo, whatever sign that is. But it works. But keeping it real it's really hard as well, because you're pushed into circumstances that really push you to your limits, but also really trigger and highlight your conditioned beliefs, where you're holding yourself back. And the lessons keep on coming here. The energy in these mountains is fiery. So you're in for a ride when you come to this area of the world. It's why I just think it's so perfect for the energy that I work with, because it's really transformational. You will absolutely shift. You're not going to come here and sit, like I say, and gin and tonics. You really are going to move through a huge transformation, energetically and emotionally within yourself. You meet yourself here. You really meet yourself.
It's interesting too, because I noticed, and I just went through this like 2 days ago, and I told Morgan, I said, I am not okay. I don't normally say stuff like that. Not that and I'm not saying, oh, I'm okay, like we were talking about. I'm just normally able to bob and weave, and I guess in human terms, do the shows, go lay down. Do the show, go lay down. But what I've noticed in the relationship, there's a lot of parallels of what's happening collectively, right? And I've noticed, like what you were talking about, some of the stuff that the revelations that were coming to you, and what I noticed is that people there's lessening projection, which means that there's more people going inside, more people adopting. It's never them, it's always me. You know what I mean? So I can see this happening. I can feel it happening in my own life. And part of it, I think there is a telepathic thing going on, because like Morgan and I had a talk a couple of nights ago when we got here, and we kind of went through like the last few months. It was one of those talks where let's get everything out on the table kind of thing. And every time we started down these paths of these topics, it was basically understood that the other person knew exactly what the person was trying to tell them or her, right? So at the end of like 2 hours, we looked at each other like, so the bottom line is we didn't need to say anything. And so it's, I don't know if it's like it's more like what you were saying, things, but I see it happening with people that are, that work with the Soulology group, or even people out in the field that I talk to or collaborate with. I'm noticing that there's something happening, and less has to be said.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
But it's because we're coming home to our truth, and we use words and language because we're not connected with that other way of communicating, which is through the subtle energies, through our heart, through emotions, through energy. We're so conditioned to be living from our heads and needing the language to communicate. But you're right. I feel so much more. I've always been empathic, and I've always known stuff without knowing that I know it. But it's more now it's becoming more obvious. And even just amongst my friends or the people that I work with, everyone is becoming more expansive, but also more connected. And the words mean less because we already know and we already feel it. And the words becomes superfluous, really.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. It's a weird spot. It's not one or the other. It's a weird spot. It's like in between. So there's like, yeah, that's what I mean. It's like, okay, it's almost like this. You could say, okay, there's an owner's manual for 3D. We pretty much know how that, there's an owner's manual for 5D. We're not there yet. So there's not an owner's manual in between. So you're in this transition, and you're starting to have these higher sensitivities. We have already had enough time, or let's say we've already been challenged enough with trusting ourselves, with having confidence in our non-physical abilities, put it that way, So we're starting to do that, and it's creating this new level of communication, which is kind of a hybridization, which I guess this whole trip is full of hybridization templates, right? But yeah, so it's like, we're figuring it out. And for everything that's being said and talked about, experienced, I really feel like we're doing a hell of a job. F the headlines, forget about all that stuff. It's just a distraction. I think we're doing an incredible job, and it's moving at warp speed.
It is. I think it's moving a lot. Things are moving a lot faster, not in a sense of like speed or distance, but everything is picking up and accelerating, not to get further down the line, but to be more in our truth, to be more who we are, which is divine beings of light and love. And we understand the concept of that and what it looks like, but to actually live it, that's why there's lots of going in and out and confusion and doubt. And then there's the dark holes that we fall into because we lose track of who we are and we get lost for a bit, and then something happens and up we come again. But it's a journey.
Yeah.
And the star beings that, work with me, their message all these years has been consistent all the way through. It's not about the words, it's about the feeling, it's about the vibration, it's about the presence, it's about being in your heart, it's about being love. And of making that your focus, of making that your goal, if you want to use a word like that, and to let go of all the superficial material stuff and the daily ups and downs. Just keep coming back to our hearts and to the power of love. Because when we're in that,
I don't think we have a choice. I really don't. I think this is going down no matter what, and everything, if necessary, will be removed.
Yeah,
everything will be taken. If that's what it takes, then that's what it takes. But
I think those that want to go with it, we're moving in it already. It's like you say, we haven't got a choice. But I do feel that there are souls, beautiful souls out there who are really struggling with this.
Yeah,
they're
for
really
sure.
struggling. And whether it's resistance or denial or disbelief, it doesn't matter, because we're all on this journey together. And we can't force people to wake up or come on the ride or believe what we believe or move into different states of being. But that's our lesson as well, is to be loving and accepting of where other people are with their experience. Because there's no right and there's no wrong. Nobody's better or worse than anybody else. We really are all in this together, and we're all just doing the best that we freaking can.
That's right. and these fixations that we have on others is really us avoiding our own crap, our own shit.
Resistance.
But we were talking, I was telling you, we were talking, and she said something. I'll have to put it in my own words, but this is what she was saying. She said, we're also discovering what love is. Love is not fixing something for somebody.
No.
we're starting to understand that love is allowing someone to fix themselves.
Yes.
You know, and that's true, because anytime we are spending focused and fixated on others, oh, well, I'm a light worker, or I'm a practitioner, or I'm a broadcaster, and I'm going to help and say, you know, we're not spending it on ourselves. And our frequency is increased by this personal introspection, the personal transformation, like what you've been going through. We've been all going through, but like this last 6 months, this is what you guys were doing.
Yeah.
You're in PhD, you know, you're in upper level, you know, I mean, it's like, so your frequency gets raised, it's done. You know, in other words, you don't have to say anything. You don't have to do anything. You can go do what you want, because that just enhances your frequency. But you don't have to go say, hey, I just came out of the cave with Moses and, you know, you know what I mean? You don't have to, because this is that you know, that combination of frequencies that is ultimately our vibration that we're putting out. That this is this new thing that we're talking about right now. This is that feeling that you're talking about, and what the galactics have been consistently telling you the whole time, right? This is it.
And you know, when I first started out, or when I came out the channeling closet, and that was about 5-6 years ago, you know, I had this dream and this vision of how it was going to be, and how I was going to create it and share it with the world. And I look back now and I think, oh, for goodness sake, Sally, I mean, how how head-led, how ego-led, and how limited was that vision. And years down the line, I'm realizing I just had to be me.
Yeah, that's right.
I didn't have to be Sally the channel.
Yeah.
I have to be Sally.
But we all had to go through that. You know, I mean, it's understandable. This information that you're pulling down, however you want to describe it, the code that's coming in, the sacred wisdom, however you want to call it, you know, any of us, that's some powerful, powerful stuff.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I remember when I woke up and I said, well, you know, you start having like, you know, experiences, dimensional experiences, or souls that had disincarnated would come see me. And of course, you know, they don't give you any directions. You just got to figure it out. Right. Yeah. And I remember saying to myself, well, what about Jesus? And then boom, there he is. Right. And then he starts showing me all this stuff. Well, I didn't understand. I mean, he's telling me he's got Mary Magdalene coming out of a cave, holding a baby and saying, this is you, this is your soul name. And so this is powerful, powerful stuff. And it's a challenge and kind of a catalyst, really, for our growth, because we do have to question, and we do have to fall on our ass and get egg on our face and look back, like you said, and say, man, I was leading from the mind, I was leading from the ego. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of powerful stuff that we have integrated and equalized and expanded from, and that we still do, and we will continue to.
It's a continual journey, you know, with the channeling. I think there was a point last year, and I remember telling I think it might have been Jamie Williams that was on just a couple of days ago. Yeah. I remember saying to her, I'm sure it was her, you know, the channeling for me is now, it's just like normal. It's like I don't even realize the extent of what is happening and how it affects people. And then I was sitting here getting ready to channel, and I just had this sudden realization of like, oh my God, we're connecting with the most beautiful, incredible, conscious collective that's bringing us through this experience of love. Okay. And yet sometimes I'll just come in, do my preparation, do the channeling, upload to Zoom, share in the group, blah, de, blah, de, blah. And I don't see the sacredness in it sometimes, because it's become normal.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have to really, again, step back and take a look of how sacred everything is in our life.
Yeah.
You know, the tiniest, you know, intuitive hit is sacred. You see a shooting star, it's sacred. You see an ant walking on the ground, it's sacred. Water coming off the mountain is sacred. Love is sacred. Arguments are sacred. Doubt is sacred. You know, there's nothing that isn't divine or sacred or miraculous just for being exactly what it is. And sometimes we need to get out of our own way to see the
Exactly. See,
yeah.
When we were talking last night, and this isn't new stuff. I mean, I'm not trying to say, I'm just in the context of the conversation. So Morgan says, everything is perfection. I'm like, yeah, I get that. Yeah. And then she's like, it's just a matter of finding the perfection. Sometimes you can see it. I remember walked out the other day before we left Arkansas, and I had something going on, right? I'm doing a show, something's coming in, boom, boom, boom. It was when Jamie was on and some other powerful lady was on, and I'm lit like I am now talking to you. I got a higher self here. I'm looking at your higher self too. I'm looking at you, so it was something like that. I walked outside and I took 2 steps out of the garage and a shooting star, I don't know, meteor. It was more of a meteor because it was actually going horizontal, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's real easy to see that alignment and perfection, but the real gold is, so-and-so just triggered me. This just triggered me. This event just triggered me. It's never them. It's always me. Where is it? Where is that perfection? Where is the message? And I think that's what's happening for many, many people. And I think at least in my own experience with what I do, I see more people, that are, to me, if I look at the field and see the field, I see more people doing that. And they're not necessarily people that do shows like this. They might be watching and making comments, but they're just getting it done and they don't have to say anything, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I think when we say showing up, for me, showing up, the old way of showing up is coming out into the public eye and going, ta-da, that, the other. But actually showing up for me now is simply being myself and being completely truthful about where I'm at, how I'm feeling. Maybe I'm shiny one day and sparkly, and the next day maybe I've got a little dark cloud over my head. But showing up is just being completely truthful and authentic for where you're at, how you're feeling. And that is the most powerful thing that you can share, because it gives everybody else the freedom to be themselves as well, and to let the barriers down, to let love in, or to let an experience in, or to let their anger out, or to cry their eyes out, or to laugh at a really inappropriate joke.
Yeah.
We have to be free to be ourselves.
Yeah.
Because that's where the gold lies.
Absolutely. Yeah. We left, I don't even know. I don't know how we keep dates in our heads anymore. I don't even know. We left on Saturday. Today's Wednesday, right?
Dates don't work anymore.
So we traveled Saturday and Sunday, and the whole time, like within a couple of hours, like I knew I could feel the alignment. That's been a big deal too, right? A big deal has been like you feel the alignment. I remember Vera told me this about 1.5 years ago. I was in Hawaii, and I'm like, okay, I'm getting this information in, and I got to go get this done. I got to go get that done. Charge. And she goes, Todd, you don't have to do anything. You're just feeling the alignment. And as the time's gone on, it's made more and more sense. So we leave, and as soon as we leave, one of my kids texts me, "Hey, Dad, you coming?" I'm like, "Yeah." Like, that's alignment. There was just a bunch, right? But about an hour or two into the trip, all of a sudden, I get this ball of energy between my solar and my sacral. Like you can't even deny it. Oh, I think that maybe that's nothing. No. This was like in my face, like ready to explode, like a lava bomb or something. Yeah. And my point is to what you were talking about. You don't always know you don't know what the fuck it is. Yeah. And you can sit there and go, what is this? But I didn't. I just try to breathe. I try to put my hand on my heart. I say affirmations. I talk to Morgan, whatever. But so anyway, a few days go by, and I just absolutely went off the edge. for me, I'm being a little bit extreme, facetious, but I get in the car with Morgan and I just went, ah. And I said, and I have this ball of energy and it's in me and I felt it come into me and here we go, 20 minutes, like you said, let them be angry, let them, and 20 minutes later, not only did I have the information of what this energy was and is, but why, what in me pulled it into me? What was the multifaceted, explanation or landscape of it all? And what was the solution? And it was fucking beautiful, and so these are the things that you were saying at the beginning, like, I don't know, I'm not okay. And it's not going to be like, flip a switch and everything comes to you. This is, we're being required to embody this to the nth degree.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful lesson of trusting and surrendering and letting go of the words like how, why, when. Right. And I think it takes courage to allow yourself to drop into a space of not knowing and of allowing yourself to feel without actually having to immediately sort of fix it, understand it, categorize it, label it, sort it out. Sometimes just being with our feelings is enough. Just acknowledging, allowing them to surface, giving yourself permission just to feel. And again, this is what the star beings keep saying. Feel, it's all about feeling and allowing and embodying that and not suppressing it or questioning it or trying to fix it as well. Sometimes just being is all that's required.
Well, and here's a timely comment to your point, right? Jess Lewis. Thanks, Jess. My international energy wants to go full throttle, and that's mostly not what's needed. So you expand on that a little bit, and what you just described, what is that? That's that is the mother frequency that you're describing. Feeling your feelings, not suppressing, the sensitivity, the intuition, and for me, this is how it's gone for me, right? Like, my feminine is badass. I mean, like, it's come in over, like everything, it's come in a graduated way, but over the last few weeks, man, whoa, like, I'm digging her. I know her. I'm not making it, I have a divine union marriage inside myself and, and all that. I actually can, it's in every cell of my body. I can now understand this feminine energy and what has been missing. Now, as a result of her, let's just say the feminine energy coming in, something's been moved out. And what's been moved out has been that false, the false patriarchal impressions made upon either sex. You know what I mean? So it's really interesting that she made that comment and what you're describing, because I think this is actually what's happening to every single person in the world. We've all been imprinted by this patriarchal template. Some people call it masculine, but I think that gets confusing. But it's a patriarchal template. And so it's affected both genders, and we've got programs. And now what's revealing itself, because we always think, it's a disclosure, it's going to be this big secret space program and this horrible thing. And that. No, the disclosure is revealing itself. It's this mother goddess energy that we had painted into a corner. And I'm telling you, I am an ex-alpha male, warrior. And I can now tell you, my whole body's tingling. I can tell you that my relationships, my life, my work, everything is being infused by this expansion of this feminine energy that's fucking incredible. It's not straight lines anymore. It's flow.
No, absolutely. And that's where the power is. That is where the beauty is. That's where the love is, because nothing anymore is of that, like you say, masculine patriarchal structure. I remember being in Glastonbury a few years back. It's the only time I've been in Glastonbury, and I went to the White Springs, and I walked into the White Springs, and there's, to one side, there's the altar to the goddess, and there's a beautiful painting in there, and it's just so beautiful. And I sat down sort of like just on the floor, actually. It's not like chairs or anything. It was very, very natural. I sat down at the altar of the goddess, and I just closed my eyes and I went in, and the energy that came in, that, like you were saying, the power of the feminine, the goddess. And I've never experienced anything like it. And it was like there was nothing else that I needed ever, 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 apart from to continue to be in that state of being and to feel that energy. And it just gave me such a sense of who we all are, because we don't tap into that or feel that in our everyday life. We dip in and out of it when we do our practices, or we go into groups or workshops or video calls, whatever it is. But to have that experience of yourself in that energy where you lose your humanness, you forget that you're Sally with a body who is from Scotland, and all of that, all of those labels, everything disappeared. And all there was this incredible love that was, and it wasn't soft love, like you were saying. It was powerful.
It's like Cali.
Cali, yeah.
It's like the Black Madonna. It's like, we ain't taking no shit, you know. But, you know, that's why and I know it's me, but I have an issue, it's me. I got to work on it. But this masculine, feminine thing, I've had enough of this shit. I'm sorry. I would use the term patriarchal to describe the illusion of the realm, you know, or the program of the realm, and I would describe this other energy as the mother goddess energy. Now, you can call it masculine, feminine if you want. I think that complicates it, but my point is, what you were saying. Look, the mother energy. Look, how many of us know mothers? Now, you can have you know, like the families down here where I grew up. You can have a whole passel of kids. You can have 10, 12 kids.
Yeah.
And you have one kid, you know, that becomes, you know, murders someone or just whatever.
Yeah.
And is in prison. And the mother equally loves these children, and the mother will never give up on any of these kids. Right? That's the mother energy. That's unification. That's unity consciousness. That's if you apply that, for instance, into, let's say, something like soulology, like a business or whatever you want to call that, it brings a whole different dynamic now. Like everybody, it's a win-win-win-win-win. There is no exception. Everybody is taken care of. You know what I mean? And again, we go back to what we talked about earlier. It's creating good stress of how do you do a business now? How do you communicate now? You know, how do you have this relationship now? You know, I told Morgan the other day, I said, in part of my journey, and I said, okay, I want you to give me a kiss. Like, you know, you tell me that men do this, and and I'm missing the boat, and it's not from the heart, or whatever the case is, whatever the conversation was. So she gives me a kiss, and it's like this, you know, forceful thing, you know, like, I'm like, whoa. I'm like, whoa, man, that's what it feels like. She's like, yeah, you know, this pushing and protruding. And then I said, okay, well, give me a kiss, then like a feminine. And whoa, right. Like, you know, to have that unbridled, you know, because that's been a big part of the feminine, you know, not being as visible in our experience because it's been suppressed, right? Energetically, it's been suppressed. If you showed it, they burned you at the stake or they hung you. You know what I mean? So to have that, and I see this as happening too, where this feminine energy, it's one thing for it to ground and to make itself known, but it's another thing to see this energy unbridled in its full creative force, right? Supported, and whoa, that, like, it's like we think that we're going to go from here to there, but no, it's like here, boom. This is where we're at.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and like you say, there's so many images and expectations, and even actually the word mother brings up a lot as well, because, you know, not all mothers are what we, oh gosh, I'm opening up a can of worms.
Well, look, you're talking to a brother here, so I know what you're talking about. I don't want to be rude either, but yeah, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think we have the expectation of what the human mother is, and when that doesn't turn out, then that creates a whole load of other disappointments, or even higher expectations of, you know, later in life of becoming a mother yourself, or receiving that type of love, or we're always looking for that love and never feeling that we actually get that maternal love. But when you have that energetic and emotional connection with the divine mother, the divine feminine, the goddess, then you know it. It doesn't need a label, it doesn't need describe, it doesn't need anything that we've been taught to apply to the mother, if you see what I mean.
Yeah. And I think we've all seen. Yeah. My grandmother was like that, you know, just a rock, and just like drew no attention to herself. And she was she was actually the first disincarnated, or, you know, transition soul that came to see me once I woke up, which, you know, so there's that mother energy again. But you bring up a really good point. And I'm not a practitioner. Morgan is, and I cohabitate with her, so I hear bits and pieces, and we talk this all day long, every day anyway. But what I'm getting at is the modality or process that she downloaded over a few years, that she works with people on. The first step is, to your point, the first step is about your mother and your father. Okay. Yeah. And I remember a long time ago, as I was trying to find peace on my own, you know, going through life, that I realized that your mother and your father are just people that just happen to be your parents. You know what I mean? They're no different than you and me. And these expectations, you know, are a big part of our shadow. And so, yeah, I get what you're saying. There is a huge opportunity in both the mother and the father, in the literal. You know, and even I've seen her work with people that never met their mother, never met their father, and you still put a list together, because there's so much tied to that abandonment, trust. I mean, wow. Like and that's another thing too that was a big pill for me to swallow. Once I get into, like, I'm not going to be like my dad, I'm not going to be like my mom, I'm going to be, you know. And then you get to your 25 and 30, and you start to go, whoa. I told Morgan on the way down here, I said, why is it that every time I'm doing these shows the last few days, I keep looking, if I look at my face, which I don't normally do, I look at the guests, I'm seeing my dad's face in I'm seeing my dad's. So we're a lot more like those things than we think.
Yeah. And I think one lesson that I learned a good few years ago was that I had a very challenging relationship with my mum. She was my greatest love, but she was also my greatest challenge and teacher. And I remember being desperately upset, and I was speaking to a very dear friend of mine, and she said, you know, Sally, you need to stop expecting your mother to be the mother that you always wanted as a child. Because until you stop doing that, you're never going to be free. You're never going to move on. You're always going to be let down or hurt or tied, you know, and trapped in that cycle of emotion. And so it took me a while, but I eventually, I found myself, or I took myself, or I did the work to take myself into a place over time where I could actually see her and love her for who she was, beyond being the mother. And when I let go of that label of the mother, it was like there was a whole new person in front of me. And yet, like you say, we carry so much in our lives from our childhood on a subconscious level, and we've gotten, you know, and it's only when you start taking off a layer, or like you say, noticing that you may look like them, or you suddenly see a behavior that comes up that you recognize, or a thought, and then you think, whoa, there they are. But
Exactly.
we can free ourselves from that if we wish. If we want to let go of that patterning and that conditioning and that belief, we can be free of it.
It is the epitome of, well, two things. Like, one, what I was saying about we're being we have no choice. We're having to go back to that which we pushed away, or that we ran from, as a human. I don't want to be human, or the trauma, whatever. But the parents, Morgan will say to her client, your mother and father are Mother Universe and Father God.
Yes.
It doesn't matter if you met them or this or what is it, because their DNA created, you know what I mean? You can't get away from this. So I don't know. I'm not really qualified to say this, but I don't know if it's all the programs, but certainly many, many programs that we carry, if you trace them back, are going to come back to the mother, father, so that's, but like you said earlier too, in so many words, the discomfort is the red flag. It's the signal. This is where the gold is.
Exactly.
That's the bottom line,
really. And we can resist it, or we can go with it, or we can grow with it and expand from it and move on. And it all comes down to a choice as well. When we see it, we can either do something about it and embrace it, or we can just run 100 miles and face it all again next year.
It will come back. It will come back. And I think that, I try not to get too much into where were we before this incarnation, where we go from here, but I'm pretty certain of one damn thing. There is karma and unresolved karma, which to me means anything that's not oneness. So, it doesn't matter whose fault, yours, mine, nobody's, doesn't matter. But I firmly believe that we come in to whatever incarnation, like this incarnation, this ain't all from this incarnation. I'm sorry. There's some ancestral stuff going on. There's some personal stuff going on. And I want that shit. I want it equalized. This to me is, kind of how do you navigate this? Like, how do you break that down for an individual person? Hey, if something makes you uncomfortable, fucking deal with it. Because if you don't deal with it, per Sally Claridge, it's coming back, and there's no doubt. And if it ain't coming back here, it's going to come back. The universe is not going to allow anyone to deviate from the perfect, design. They're just not.
Yeah.
It's always got to be, this number equals that number, right? And when it gets thrown off whack, it's going to continue to move back to that point of equilibrium, come hell or high water.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what a journey.
I know, man. It's so good talking to you. It really is. It's such a good to talk to you. I'd love to collaborate with you again,
love
in this year. Certainly, like maybe in a couple of months, and see what the hell's going on then. I'm really happy for you and Scott, and thank you for, energetically, which is the most important thing to me, because everything is a metaphor. It's just being shown to us. It's all energetic. But thank you for the energetic impression that you guys are making, doing what you're doing, and being. Really, that's the key. You're just being, and being honest about it too. So I really appreciate it. Is there anything that you wanted? I know I get into the conversation, but is there anything that you wanted to announce that you're doing? I did put up the blog information on all the platforms. Is there anything that you wanted to announce or expand awareness about that you're doing or involved with?
Sure. Actually, I've just now that I'm back, as it were, I've just opened a free group, if anyone wants to come in and.
What's the name of it?
The Channeling Love Tribe.
Hang on. Which is on Facebook?
It's on Facebook, yeah. So
the Channeling Love Tribe on Facebook.
So if anyone wants to come and say hi, that would be lovely.
Okay, there you go.
And we, yeah, and I'm also changing absolutely everything and starting a new website.
Perfect.
But it's still underway, so it's not ready yet. But
you let me know when you launch that thing, and we'll get back together and expand awareness on it. But that's excellent too, and I just want to give you props for that too, because it is a great example for all of us. I mean, everybody knows I've ripped Soulspeaks apart like 15 times, but it's okay, It's okay. It's actually more than okay. I remember years ago when I met Morgan, and I didn't know what ascension was. I'm like, what's and I remember her telling me one day the number one word in ascension is reset.
Yes.
And I never forgot that. So to come out with something new, I think is a really powerful thing to do. It really is.
Yeah, it has to be done. It's time.
Away with the there you go. So all blessings to you, Scott, and all your loved ones and all your endeavors. And everybody go take a look at the Channeling Love Tribe on Facebook, new group. And then we'll be talking to Sally again in a few weeks.
Thank you for everything you do, Todd. You're an absolute star. Thank you. It's been fantastic.
Big ass love and big ass dittos to you.
Yeah.
Love you. Love you. See you later. Bye-bye. We'll be back in 34 minutes with Julie.